Hello there, Outliers. Niiamah Ashong here, and thank you so much for letting us be a part of your journey. I can feel such good energy here because I am in a room with not just outliers, but four incredible trailblazers who are going to share their journey, how they continue to level themselves up, and how they continue to edge beyond being an outlier to help bring other people or create a path for other people to go through that is easier than the path that we're walking. I think that's one of the most unique things about us as outliers. Like when we lead, we create new roads. We're not just taking people down the path that has already been done because we have to figure it out. And then hopefully we make it easier for other people along the way who go there. But we're walking our path. And then if others come along, that's awesome. So let me let you know the trailblazers that we're going to be talking to today here. This is going to be really great. Shantani, why don't we start with you? Would you mind letting us know more about you and the game you're currently playing?
Yes, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Shantani, and the game that I'm playing is Living Life on Your Own Terms, Radical Acceptance. I'm a burnout reform strategist based out of Los Angeles, and I help creative CEOs and really high capacity leaders really reconnect with their bodies as the compass for making strong decisions and moving their vision. So I'm really excited to be here in this room of outliers. And for everyone listening, this is going to be the best conversation yet.
I love it. The standard has been set. All right. I love it there. Thanks so much, Shantani. I'm excited to see how we play with all this. Tamari, let's get to know you and the game you're currently playing.
Yeah, my name is Tamari and I'm based out of LA. I just moved here like a year ago. And the game that I'm currently playing has been, how do you say, put on a different path from one path that I thought I was on. Right now, I find myself having to speak life back into people who have been defeated in playing their games. So right now, I've kind of like that mentor speaking life back in. I do have a podcast, which is coincidentally along the lines of that, called "Sincerely Yours" by Tamari Mays. It speaks about all the things that you know I feel as a black woman is wrong with. Well, not wrong, but could be addressed in the black culture to help us push us to the next level. So that's kind of been the mission statement for my business unknowingly. So yeah.
Oh, wow. I love this element of like the unknowing part of it. It is emerging and evolving. It's exactly how it's supposed to be. So thank you so much, Tamara. I'm glad we're in space. Heather, let's let Outliers get a chance to get to know you. Mind telling us more about you and the game you're playing?
Sure. Hi, I'm Heather. The game I'm playing is creating a life that I love at every moment. I have been traveling full time I'm entering my 8th year, and I am now a full-time travel lifestyle coach. So I help people understand how to get started with full-time travel, how to navigate all the changes you have to make, and how to live this lifestyle. I have a podcast called How to Travel Full-Time, and I'm all about adventure and fun and loving your life.
This is really fun. I'm already seeing like different themes come up here and different ways that like we're bringing it out to life here. Um, you Yeah, I'm excited because you figured out things, and what I get about like figuring out things, it's like it's I'm sure there was a lot of times in there where it just wasn't glamorous. So
Oh,
I'm
yes.
ex I am excited for us to like dive into things and jump in from there. And then Irshad, would love to know more about you. Tell us more about you and the game you're playing.
Sure. So I'm Irshad. I'm basically out of India, Bangalore right now. Um, I basically also host a podcast channel called as The Growth Mindset. The game I'm playing is basically a very simple game. It's just about me trying to become a better person every single day, trying to keep myself disciplined, uh, be a dependable man so that I could, any single place that I touch, uh, potentially could be good. So maybe if someone is giving me, let's say 5%, I'll try to give back 6%. It's just something that I'm trying to do. Just try to work on myself, learn. And that's what typically I do on my podcast as well. Bring in guests, they share their experiences, learn from them, see what I can implement in my life and share those learnings along the way so that, it's all about giving that lessons out so that all of us can learn and create a better more dependable society, support when it is needed.
Well, I'm really grateful. As I'm talking to you all, I have this image in my mind that I drew several years ago, and it was this idea of like this big umbrella, and it was called like Outliers Edge, and underneath that there was all these arrows that were pointing up, and it was like, and in that it was just like it represented the different people out there who were all uplifting the world, right there. And I feel like as I'm sitting in this conversation, I'm like, yeah, here we go. We this is happening in real time. Um, so let's talk here. I would like to get us all started here just a bit. I'm a bit curious about like a bit about your why, right? Like so with the work that you're doing right now, let me just get a sense as to like why this out of all the things you could have done, why this? So we'll go. Want to hit on everyone here. We'll go in the same order so outliers can also get like used to the sound of your voice, and then we're just gonna go play. Right. So, Shantani, why do you get it started? Like, tell us about like what's your why behind the work that you do right now?
My why is because I believe that if everyone had access and resource to connect with their bodies more, they would feel more connected with each other. And I think that a really big issue globally is that we are, as a species in humanity, we are at odds with one another. And I think that if we can get everybody connected to their bodies and their inner artist, then the world will just be a better place, and we'll be able to really be in connection and in community and creating solutions to our very big problems on this planet that are empowering for all people. So my work is based in the body because as humans, we identify with our bodies the most. And when we can feel at peace with ourselves, then we can liberate others to do the same.
And snaps in case you're listening, like there are snaps, there are dances, there are clapping that's going on here. So, Anthony, thank you here. Tomorrow, let's get to know like you could have been doing anything in the world. Why is this stuff important to you?
Um, Subconsciously, it's always been the same. I know that consciously I may have said it was this or that, but subconsciously, my why has always come around the amazing people that I've been around who seemed like they were stuck at a level in their life and they couldn't get past it, or they didn't know that they could get past it, so they settled for that spot that it had. Like my family, who's only, and there's nothing wrong with this, but my family who's have been working 95% of their lives, who seem very miserable and stuck in that one spot, but don't seem to have the motivation to, or the belief that they can get up and try anything else. And so that's always been like a wheel in the back of my mind. I need to. It's been motivating me to keep going because I can never settle for one spot. But I never molded a business around that concept. And I had a burnout beginning of last year where I just took some time off, and now that I came back, I find that that is my real pinpoint to where I'm trying to get into people's minds and unlock that lock that they have locked on their mind, to get them to explore the possibilities that there is more in this world. There is more that they can reach for, especially people who look like me. There tend to be more of an oppression in their mind that they have to settle for a standard. And it's not that. I go against everything that is a norm in society where they say we have to look like this or we have to dress like that. You can find the best and beautiful people anywhere that you go. So I really sincerely feel like that is my new mission statement, and that will forever be a mission statement for me.
I like you got me right when you're like it might look different on the surface like on any given day, but subconsciously like what I got is like I've always been doing this thing here. This has been my like lifelong why. Outliers, I'd like to invite you to like look at that for yourself as we go here. Like what might be your lifelong why? What's that thing that might be running subconsciously underneath everything? Where they talk oftentimes as outliers, we throw away from the terms like a jack of all trade and a master of none. And I posit that like we actually might be a master of something, we just have so many different ways that it chooses to express itself out in the world, that like once it's core to you, it can continue to go. So Tamara, I appreciate you bringing that into this conversation. Let's see where things evolve. Heather, let's come to you. Like when it get, let us know, like, why do you do what you do besides it being fun? But like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, primarily, I want to live my life rather than sleepwalk through it. And I feel like I've spent so far most of my life sleepwalking through it, because I think we grow up conditioned to really lead with our head. Logic leads, and we have to follow some societal format. I don't know who made it for me, but I'm like following these rules. I don't know where they came from, and I know I'm not happy in them, but I got to follow them. Until one day I was like, well, what if I don't? And I started changing the dialogue that was happening and realizing that I don't have to suppress my heart all the time. And in fact, my starting what I'm doing came because my heart spoke to me through pain in my chest. And I finally decided to switch and live life through my heart. And it's not always easy, because our heart usually wants us to do something that to the mind seems radical, dangerous, scary, and crazy. But I try every day to plug into, where does my heart want to lead me now? And I hope that I inspire other people to know that even if your idea seems crazy, it doesn't have to be full-time travel. It could be anything that you want, that it's so worthwhile to pursue what your heart wants, and know that, when you do it, you become that inspiration for other people to follow their heart.
Y'all, I appreciate it here. Like I'm actually feeling like my heart is starting to fill up here. I was like, oh yeah, like the whys. Bring it in. Shad, like love to find out for you. Like what gets you like up early in the morning? Like why? Why are you behind this? Let us know.
Yeah, I mean, I think more important than I think my why was first the intention of why did I even start doing what I do, right? I think the beginning is always very crucial. And to be very honest, I started the podcast like which was 5 years ago. The reason I started was because I realized I could not rely on my job, the 9 to 5 job that I had. The reason being the market was really uh, difficult at that time. It was almost like 2019 hitting the COVID, which we all know, right? So the market was really shaky. I did not know what I had to do and could not definitely rely on my job, because I could be, people were just, every organization was cutting down resources. And for me, it started from a place of fear. I just wanted to see, what can I actually do that can get me some extra source of income, maybe not today, down the lane, right? I started with that intention, and I basically did my research around, okay, what can I actually do that is not happening in India? And I spent a few days researching, and I realized that the podcasting industry is very famous and very highly consumed all over the world, but in India, that's like in a very nascent stage. When joined this industry, when I started podcast, I was like the second individual who had a decent podcast all over India. So that was how I got started. But one thing I've realized after this journey of 5 years is your why keeps evolving. Initially, when I started working, it started because of a fear, but now this has become more like an avenue for me to interact with people and learn from people. And now, after you get to a certain extent, when you interact with a lot of people that others look up to, and when you get the opportunity to interact with them, you kind of understand the entire mindset that these guys have. They operate in a total different game, and the way we think are totally different. So the today, if you ask me, why do I do it? What I do, I think it's primarily because I enjoy it. It's because I am curious about learning from people. And when you do this, and I've realized now people that listen to my podcast, they reach out to me, and then when they tell you that, you know what, this episode added value. Now I know it's not just me that is learning, it's other people around. And people that basically interact with me, also give me good insights around Irshad. You know what, this was something which is not discussed. And keeping in mind, the audience that I have is primarily India, right? But the guests I have are all over the world. So opening myself to these different perspectives that are all over the world has given me a lot of good insights. And I think I tell this even to my listeners and everyone, and even to the entire listeners, like the Outliers community that is listening to us right now. I would say, if there is something that you want to do, and you know you would not be getting paid for this, do you think you would still do it for the next 20, 30 years? If your answer is yes, then that's something that you should definitely go ahead and start doing. And eventually you'll find your answer. You can find sources of income, because I know even if I don't get paid for my podcast, you'll see me interviewing people when I'm 50, 55 years old as well. Right. So I've identified that this is something that really encourages me, helps me. And I think this is what the audience could also take away, right? Like like end of the day, I'm not an expert. I'm just a human being trying to learn from people, trying to improve myself on a regular basis. So in simple words, it's just I know it's a long story, but I think it's just my why's constantly evolving, and I hope it keeps pushing me to the next level.
I'm like, just so y'all know, like, I had a great thing. I was just totally muted, y'all. So, but like, it was really great. And so, given where we are right now, thank you. Thank you all for playing this year. Like what I want to do is kind of like remove like the structure of it all and get out of like more like solo player mode and just bring it to like even that like not even multiplayer. I think we've been in multiplayer mode, but now it's like that mass multiplayer online thing, like MMORPG. Oh man, I was so close. But like let's just see where the conversation goes. And I'm gonna toss some things in for you and just like see what y'all make of it. So we talked. You said, Irshad, you talked about like enjoy. Like when you said enjoy, like I love the word joy and enjoy in particular. Like as like it's like a command to me. It's like enjoy. Like be there, be in joy as well. Um, and there's something that's been playing out for me recently, and this is like actually in the last week. So when we came into this space, I talked about trailblazers. I talked about outliers and leaning into the edge of trailblazing and creating like leading beyond just like what has happened for yourself. And that's because like that's at the time of this recording about like a 4 day old realization, or not even a realization, a 4 day old remembrance. Like this is how I started. I started out this podcast back in the day. It was Outlier the Trailblazer podcast for a time, you know, and I forgot that we were here on a journey. And I remember having a conversation with someone, and the context that I had is I know that we talk about being mindful, and I hear people talk about being soulful, but like I don't really feel right now that I'm heartful. And I don't know if anyone's talked about heartfulness, you know? And so I would love to like bring in here like this concept of like we're talking about like the why you're doing your work here. I'd love to like see like how do y'all keep coming back and finding that thing that like brings your heart back in the game? You know, maybe it's the like finding your way back to that thing, like your love for the work that you're doing again, or like reconnecting with like why you're doing this here. But what is it like? How do y'all navigate that? And if you've been in like I'm still working on this right now, so I'm deeply interested because I'm nothing's changed, but my heart wasn't in it. Like everything else was in it, but my heart wasn't in it. And it's not to say that I was phoning it in, but you know the difference. I think you know when there's that there. So I'm gonna mute myself. I'd love to see where y'all take it, and feel free chat it up. I'm here to learn from y'all. So anyone want to start us off?
I'll start because I totally get that. And I find that I mentioned before that when you follow your heart, it's scary, crazy, all that. But um, when I started traveling full time, I remember I heard my heart speak to me and thank me for believing in it and starting this journey. And I had never had that full, I don't know, it was like a full body heart experience. And throughout my journey in life, same as you, there have been moments where I'm like, wait, where I realize I'm not following my heart. And I'm like, what happened? Where do you want to go now? And I think the way I would handle this is um acknowledge that one, oh, I realize something's off. There's something missing. I need to change something. Two, get out of my head, because what's going to happen first? The head's going to say, well, how am I going to get back in my heart? What can I read? What can I study? Who can I talk to? And it's going to like fill you up with all these things, when in fact, what I found needs to happen is to just sit back and just listen. For each of us, that's going to be different. For me, I know sometimes I actually have to stop. I'm a doer, so I'll just be like, oh, let me do this. And the hardest thing for me is to just stop and do nothing. And I have to go there so that my heart can fill the space instead of my mind and my doing and everything else. So I have to make the space for my heart to fill it. So that would be my process in how I would tackle, like, let me get back to my heart. Because once I can get back into the feeling, and I'm just following the threads of feeling. I might just go out for a walk and feel like I love this tree. Oh, okay, I'm gonna come and visit that tree. I might have a conversation with someone who tells me about some class I'd never heard of, and I'm gonna go take that class because it feels like something I would like. So I just follow those threads until they come together and bring me where I need to be.
Well, for me, um, I've always noticed that you never stop loving something. You never stop loving it. Hate is another side of the same coin. If you really feel hatred towards or disdain towards something, you love it in a sense, but you can't do it, so now you're hating it, or you can't be with it, and you're mad at it, right? So, with me, my initial career field was acting, and acting made me so mad because I wasn't getting the parts that I wanted. The roles that I were getting, they seemed like very shallow, very corny, very like first level. And I'm over here thinking about, like Will Smith, Denzel type scripts, which I knew that I wasn't going to get it consciously, subconsciously. I just knew I wasn't performing at a level that I wanted to. So then it became about how do I get to that level? So I had to take the next role and the next role. Then I kept saying yes to roles that I didn't want. Then it became about the money because the money became an issue, paying bills and losing cars and having to move every year. It was really dawning on me. So when I moved to LA, I had to sit still. Like she said, we have to sit still. And also my biggest problem is to sit still because sometimes I don't listen to myself. I cut myself off. Like when it becomes so business driven that you don't feel the personality or the the love for it underneath it, you have to stop. You have to stop. Because especially with me, I pride my whole business on being vulnerable and being myself, not anything else, not what society says. And if it's becoming so driven minded, or business minded, I have to stop. And I had to stop. And it took a couple months for me to really work through that, cry, get all the anger out. I was angry, but then I realized it was never really about what I wanted to be about. I love those scripts that Will Smith and Denzel did because it reminded me to think beyond what the situation I was in. And so once I sat back and started doing other stuff, I realized that it became natural to me. It didn't have to be about the money, it didn't have to be about the business. It was more natural to help people. I was always put into businesses or structures where I had to lead. Actually, the school that I went to, the mascot was a trailblazer. So it's like little subtle things that if you believe in God, if you believe in the universe, whatever, it's signs like that. Trailblazers was your mascot at school. You're not to be following these standards. You're supposed to be pushing ahead, and you kind of forget yourself in that. So mine was always the same as hers. We have to sit down and you have to reevaluate because we do get into businesses for the wrong reasons a lot of times. A lot of times we get into business to be like our favorite celebrity or to make millions of dollars. And that's good for the first year or two. But once you hit that rut, then you have to push through and you have to remember why you love this or figure out another way. And it's fine to regroup and redirect. It's fine to redirect or to change careers. Like I feel like I'm transitioning past the actor phase. I haven't really fell in love with the whole auditioning and reading scripts again.
Mm.
So I think it's transition is past, but it's still the same core value.
I love this here. That's the component of like allowing yourself to transcend from what had been there. Thanks, Tamari. What else you got?
hearing like being present to what is. Like Niiamah, you brought up, you know, this is where I'm at, and having this like radical acceptance of what brings me joy. We're coming back to the conversation around joy, right? Why are we here in the first place? Are we really here to build businesses, or are we really here to live our lives fully so that when we take our last breath, we can say, that was it. I crushed it, right? And at the end of the day, kind of like what Irshad was saying earlier, it's like, it doesn't matter what we do. It's who we be and how we do it along the way. And our mission, our joy, our love, our passion is going to find us anywhere that we're following that. And so I can totally relate to that, Niiamah. And it's so important that we get to radically say, this is who I am right now. And what do I need? What do I need? The person behind the project. What do I need? What inspires me? Do I need space? Do I need to, like Heather said, go take a different class? Like, do I need to go take a pottery class, take something else? Like, finding and letting life be our muse, I think, is such a beautiful way to reconnect with the frequency of joy and the frequency of what we get to do, what a gift it is that everyone here and everybody who said yes to listening to this podcast, there's a reason. You saw Outliers Edge and you were like, that's me, right? So inherently, we're taking this lane of life to deviate from the norm and to deviate from complacency, from mediocrity. And we get to create it and we get to make it simpler. You know, like we get to just go, you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna go get some donuts and have a me day and just reconnect. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't need to be so larger than life all the times. It's really the joy and the pleasure for me comes in the little things and going, what do I have? And some days it's tough, especially in entrepreneurship. You're like, yo, what we got around here? Because it's looking slim. Okay, sometimes it's like that, but we get to let life be our muse, and we get to go to get creative and use our gifts, right? We're all here because we have that curiosity, that creativity. How can you leverage that gift of curiosity and creativity to feel more empowered in your day-to-day life? Because at the end of the day, that's what to me, that's what it's all about. It's like, at the end of the day, we're all here to live life to the fullest. And that happens moment to moment, every single day. And giving ourselves permission to radically accept who we are, I think, is the ticket.
And to,
I mean, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, and to piggyback off of what she just said, the radical acceptance, I think it comes with a level of truth. We have to be honest and truthful with ourselves, because a lot of people are lying to themselves, saying that, oh, this is happiness and this is happiness and this is joy. Are you really at the end of the day happy with what you have going on? You really have to be honest with the level of honesty that you have within yourself. I had to sit back and say, even though I'm an actor and doing what I wanted to do, I am not happy. I'm not joyful. This isn't how I pictured it. This is not how I love. This is not what I love. And so I had to stop. You have to take those moments of self-reflecting to even get to the other side. A lot of people want to get to the other side and skip the first step. You can't. It's not possible.
And it's a very important point, Tamari, that you mentioned here, right? Because oftentimes we get so stuck in what we want to do that we forget the markets are changing. Maybe we need to evolve ourselves or pivot to ensure that you are growing with everything else that is around you. And I really appreciate what Heather and Shantani mentioned, right? I think reconnecting with your purpose, we've looked at a perspective where how you can be mindful, how you can go back. I also think there's one other thing that this was an issue that I had. So I think this is important because a lot of other people also have this. And that is to do with execution. Sometimes all we do is, in our head, we are planning, we are reconnecting with our purposes, we are trying to do again and again. But when the time comes to execute, that's the time we back off. We are delaying stuff. We are saying, you know what, I'll take action tomorrow, but we don't. I've been guilty of that as well, and I'm still guilty. I'd be lying if I said I'm always motivated to do the things that I should be doing. I am not, to be very honest. For me, I've realized one thing is the only thing that helps me drive results. I'm not talking about just connecting myself, but I'm talking about results is my discipline. The only thing I can do is if I have processes in place. I know the first step is being heartful, as all of us were discussing, right? Once you are aware and you are happy with what you have to do, then you have to figure out your processes, figure out what kind of actions we're going to take. Now, anyone who's listening to us, if you think just being happy is what will motivate you to get results, then down the lane you will realize that's not the truth, because after a certain point of time you might just find this really boring, and that's the fact. Then you just have to keep looking at your why. Like, why are you doing it? I've realized my why keeps evolving with years that I have, because now when I'm looking at my podcast or when I'm looking at what I'm trying to build, I've come a long way. And the only way I can go to the next level is if I change my day to day habits. For me to achieve or become someone, I need to have a different mindset. I need to have a different schedule altogether. I cannot expect to be or have the same habits and think that I'm going to become a billionaire and I'm going to be in the fittest shape I can be. For me to do that, I need to go and hit the gym. I need to go and start reading books. I need to go ahead and start investing. And that's a lot of work. So the only way, I think, one of the second very important aspect of you to actually drive some result is going to be put down your action items, and try to do that. I'm guilty of it. I lose track of it, but it's all about, once you fall back, how do you get up again? How do you ensure that you're going back to your execution part? Because that's the only way at the end of the day that would help you drive results.
Y'all are awesome. Like, thanks for playing here. You brought in this part of execution. That's been like a little rough, right? As you're talking here, I was just thinking about it. I'm like, I think I've done like about like 100 of these kind of episodes, like in like the last 9 months. 100 is not fair. There's way more. There's been a lot. I think I went from like, yeah, I think I'm somewhere like in like 150, 200 episodes on this. And you talk about like getting bored around it. And when you were saying that, Ishad, like what was coming, it was like, there's like two parts that I found to be hard. There's like the part that's like, okay, now I'm bored. And the other part is like, oh crap, like I'm doing the work, but I'm not getting the result that I want. I described it to someone the other day. I was like, I'd only ran a 5K up until that time, right? And my 5K experience in rain, I was like, I'm over it. I'm not running. I'm not a runner, right? I do other things, but like that wasn't it. And I described it right now. I'm like, I feel that I'm used to running 5Ks in my business. Like I would do something and I would work, like put in a sprint, get it done, and I would get the immediate result, and everyone would be at the finish line cheering for me and everything. And now I feel like I'm in this ultra marathon and I'm just running, and people were really excited at the beginning, but now I'm on like mile 34 and my legs are burning and like no one's around and it's dark and all this other things here, and I just want to stop, but I'm not stopping. And so like we have about like 5 minutes to dive into this here, maybe a little less here, so like we'll have to go a little quick, but I'm curious about y'all, for any outlier or trailblazer that's in the middle of this thing here that isn't on the other side of whatever the success was, or like this time around, they're like, this is taking a lot longer than it's supposed to take, isn't it? Like, should I change? Like, I'm curious about how y'all navigate it. We'll use this as our like final thing to wrap up here. Maybe we get like 2 or 3 people in on it. Where's this question taking you? Where's this prompt taking y'all?
Definitely really. Oh, go ahead, Heather.
Oh, sorry, you good.
Oh,
We had all y'all come in. Yeah, guys.
everyone's
Shantani,
like,
why you get us started?
So funny. Yeah, I think similarly to what Irshad just said, is being radically honest again with just base hits every day. I think that there's this really romanticized idea of entrepreneurship, of traveling abroad, of starting your own business, of having a podcast, and like, we're on Instagram and TikTok and blah, 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 and thinking it's going to be one way. And then we're like, oh, this is a lot of work. And I think it's about really being honest with, do you expect to go to the gym, do one squat, and then have your whole body change? You know, and everybody here knows that. Tamari's laughing for those of you
Yeah,
that
there's like
tackle it.
full on like we're like yes,
Yeah, like
yes.
yes. That's not how it works. Wait, what? Yeah. So I think, and I actually I relate to that so much because it's a marathon. And I'll just say this because I'd love to hear from everyone else, but just remembering that it's exactly what you just said, Niiamah. It's a marathon. And we're running a race that most people wouldn't even begin. And there's something to celebrate in that. And you're not alone. We're in this together. And yeah, we get to. And yeah, really excited to do it with all y'all.
On.
Well, I'm sorry.
No, you go.
I agree with everything you said. The problem that I have on both sides, one is the continuance, because when I hear race, I think of a competition. And so when people are in competition with others, they aren't paying attention to their business rather than the other person's business. And so now they're moving because of the other person's business. And I'm very competitive, and I find myself in that aspect. And I just want people to understand that you're not competing with anybody else. You have to have your own lane, your own reason why. Because that person is doing it for other reasons, and they might be ahead of you, they might be behind you, whatever. That doesn't make you better, doesn't make you it's no different. Like, people get so caught up in that competition. Like, even with Instagram, like, it's a whole bunch of people who are flaunting stuff that don't even belong to them because everybody else has it. And you have to understand who you are and what your business structure is. And that part of it is a race, but I feel like the race is from that person and your business to the finish line, not from anybody else.
Love
But then
that.
on the
Love
yeah.
that there. So we're gonna. And yeah, I know Heather, you also wanted to say something, so I want to make sure we have space in here. Why don't we go with that, and then we have one more thing we're gonna do before we wrap up.
Cool. I was just going to say, and I love what you just said. I totally resonate with that. And I know for me, sometimes with what I'm doing, I had to expand my comfort zone so much and challenge my comfort zone to do what I'm doing. And I found at a certain point, the more you challenge your comfort zone, the bigger it gets. And therefore, the easier it is to kind of get bored because it's like, well, yeah, I'm already doing this. So what will challenge me now? So I think the important thing is to listen to that voice. It's like, sometimes I think we follow the joy, we start doing the things that, to embrace it. And then suddenly we find ourselves in the, oh my God, this has become a boring business or a boring set of transactional actions. And that's the time that we have to realize, ooh, I need to step back again and see where's my joy now. And I think it's just like a never ending process of reconnecting with our joy now. And I think, as others have said, as we're evolving as humans and our why is changing and our joy is changing. So go with that.
I love this. Y'all are awesome here. There's something that last bit that gets me, which is like, I'm also trying, like, I'm now at the point where I'm like, but don't blow up the business. Like, it's boring because it's working, I don't know. There's too many times where I'm like, okay. And then I just like start something new where it's like, no, no, no. Like, go hire the people, set up the systems, make sure you have a place so that this keeps going. Because like I've reset my business way too many times without recognizing like what was actually happening there. So look, y'all, I'm appreciative here. Like y'all have been so like bringing so much to this conversation. Outliers, I have a request of you. Please go share this episode out in your world. And underneath that, there, like we've just had an incredible conversation with these four awesome trailblazers. And my thing is that I believe there is someone in your life. I really do believe there's someone in your life who would really benefit from hearing about this conversation in particular. So I ask you to join us in the one person, one conversation at a time initiative. And that is just to take this episode and share it with one person who you feel would benefit from this as a gift. right? And just say like, hey, I heard this conversation. There was 4 awesome people in here. I know what you're going through. Like really give them the chance to let them know you were thinking about them rather than just like passing it out or putting it out into the ether. I think this is where the impact of this thing happens. There's vanity metrics and then there's changing people's lives. And I think we have the chance to do that one person and one conversation at a time. So please, it would mean the world to me if you came and joined us in that initiative. All right. So we're going to wrap up this conversation in this way. For now, the outliers listening to those, they're good. They're complete. They got what they need to get, right? Now I want to see how y'all are, right? And so the way that I wrap up every conversation is to give us a chance to have you share with us your best contact information, right? How outliers can go down the journey with you. And you probably have a ton of different ways for people to get in, but like let us know like your best way to do that. And then what's an insight that you are taking for yourself, something that you're going to apply out in your life as a result of this conversation. And if there's no like takeaway that you got, just say, I didn't get anything and we'll move on from there, but like, just know that. Irshad, why don't we start with you? We'll go in like reverse order of everything else I've done today. So we're going to Irshad, then we're
Sure.
going to Heather, right? An insight
Oh,
and your best contact.
yeah. I think the major insight that I got was unique perspectives, right? Like Tamari had a very interesting perspective saying she wanted to become an actor, an actress basically, but you know, that didn't work out. She realized that's not what she wants, and now she's pivoting. Heather, Shantani, all of us had really, and this is something that I've realized over the years that all of us have a different story and the way we say it. And I think the best way, and because all of us are creators in some capacity, right? I think one of the best things as a takeaway, which I personally, I would say, Niiamah, this was coming in from you, basically, that sharing this with one specific person at a time, right? I've never done this. Whenever I've shared this to a bunch of people. Like if I like something, I'll share it to 10 different people at once. And all of this 10 already know that I've shared them. So I think what I need to do is figure out if something like this comes up with one individual, if there is a conversation that I really like, I think it's very powerful when you specifically send that to that one respective individual and tell them that, you know what, I had this takeaway from this and I thought about you. And I think that would make my relationships more stronger. I've never looked at it that way, but I think that's a very good insight that particularly stuck with me. The best way to reach me, I would say it's Instagram. Uh, it's fairly simple. Just if you search for Silawath, SILAWATH _Irshad, uh, you'll basically find me there, or my website, silawathirshad.com. Anything that where people can, whichever easy is for them.
Thank you so much, Aaron. And thanks for that. Thanks for that feedback, by the way. I had never thought of it in that way. So just you got me moving though. Heather, and then we'll go to Tamari.
Yeah, I feel like it was such a joy to hear from first off, getting to know new people and how different our paths are, and yet that common ground of, joy, the experience of frustration through it, like we were saying earlier about how, not every aspect of a joyful life is glamorous, and remembering that. And I love also the remembrance that joy is, our why actually is always in transition, that as we grow, that our why grows. So those were some of the biggest takeaways for me, and I love, thank you for putting this together, Niiamah, because uh I didn't know what to expect, like you said at the beginning, and it was great to just jump in and just go with it. So thank you for that experience. And the best way to get me is probably like LinkedIn or my website, which is above me, travellifestylecoach.com. That also forwards to heatherbegins.com, either of those. So thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for playing with us. Like I love to see how this thing evolved. Y'all are awesome. Tamari, let's come to you. Biggest insight from today and the best way for people to go down the journey with you.
My biggest insight probably that I took away from this was connected with my body as well. Like I agree with that on every percent, because if my body's tired, I'm not going to be able to do X, Y, and Z. So I have to listen to the body and health and mind. It's all a connection. Also, yeah, discipline. Not very my strongest shoot. You can reach me at Instagram at Tamari Mays for real. So if you can't spell it, it's TAMA 2 RSIMAYS, the number 4, and then real. That's the best way to reach me. I'm on there like majority of the day. Um, don't judge me. That's all.
You're awesome. I love this here. Thank you so much here. And Shantani, why don't you bring us home?
Yes, I would say the biggest takeaway today is for myself. The message is coming through of we get to, we get to, we get to, we get to. And it's those base hits every single day that Niiamah, Irshad, all of us were talking about. Of it is a bit of a grind sometimes, and yet we get to choose and we get to be brave with our lives and do it with each other. And it's just so affirming to be able to do it in community. So this was really, really lovely. And the best way to connect with me, I would say, is Instagram. So at the THE Holistic Hype Woman, at the Holistic Hype Woman on Instagram. I got you. I'm gonna hype you up, get you back on track, okay? Because we're in this together. And if you would like to know more about how to work together, you can head to my website, shantanimoore.com, and we'll get you right, baby. Let's go.
Let us go. Like y'all been fantastic. Thank you so much. It's clearly a highlight of my day to spend time with y'all. And thank you for like not just choosing to be an outlier, but choosing to level up and to blaze a trail for yourself and others. It is energizing to be in space with y'all. And I'm really, really excited for what comes next. Outliers. These are 4 incredible people. Spend the time in their world. Let's keep growing with each other. Like we are connected. We are connected. There's a reason why we're saying like put in the contact info. Like don't hold back and go in there and let's all keep growing with each other. All right. Until the next time we talk outliers, remember this. Be you on purpose. Journey on.